Julian, you're playing Katie in the movie.
Yes.
And the movie starts with you running away from something. You run to another town. Why Katie wants to start a new life?
Not to give too much of the story away, but she's definitely in a bad, dark situation, and she needs to get out of where she's at that moment. So she's running away. She's constantly scared that this thing or this person or whatever her past entailed is after her. But, she ends up in this really beautiful small town where, as much as she tries to be guarded, the charm of Alex and the kids and everything, they break that wall.
Undeniable.
And you get to see how her real true personality and how her heart really is.
So you already said it, Katie meets Alex, and in which situation of life is Alex in that moment?
Alex is in a place, he's in sort of a robotic mode where he's just, for the last 2.5 years, he's been sort of dealing with the grief of having lost his wife by focusing on the kids, his store, his feeding the kids, putting them to bed, getting up in the morning and doing the exact same thing. And hasn't even really thought about opening himself back up to another woman until this little thing rolls into town. So I don't think it was even it was even a thought, and I think that until she shows up, he's sort of faced for the first time what this has really done to him, because he's kind of become a shell of himself over the last couple of years, and without even really realizing it. And as a result, he's having trouble raising especially his oldest son. And it's a really great examination of how somebody deals with the loss of someone. To me, that's what interested me the most about this character.
And then Katie is really reserved in the beginning, but when is the turning point in the movie? She starts to open her heart.
I think, yeah, it's going to be a really hard. I knew. Let me start that over. Wow. I knew that this character was going to be hard to seem interesting and to have Alex fall in love with her, because she was so guarded. Like, how do you fall in love with somebody who really wants nothing to do with you? So because it's a movie and it's an hour and a half, you have to break those walls down soon, rather than maybe real life. But I think that the turning point is probably after the bike situation, and her friend Joe is really kind of helping her be like, loosen up a little bit. He's not trying to do anything bad or anything, and he's just being nice by giving you this bike so that you don't have to walk home every day. And I think
he's just horny.
So I think that's...
And obviously cheap, because he just pulled out an old bike out of the shed. Here.
But anyway, so I think that's when, it kind of switched, when she realized, okay, I should have just said thank you. And then from that moment on, I think that's when she kind of breaks down those walls a little bit.
So there were a lot of romantic scenes, and you have always this romantic mood, but were there sometimes it was difficult to stay in this mood and not to start laughing or something when you shoot the movie?
Well, there was a lot of laughing behind the scenes of this, and Lasse keeps a very light, loose, mood on the set. And I think that I think the director more than anybody can kind of set the tone of a movie set. A lot of it has to do with the actors as well, but for me, it's always been easier to work when you're in a place that people feel creative and people feel like they're contributing, and nobody's sort of looking over their shoulder to make sure they don't get in trouble. Everything was very sort of, it was like a family. It became a real tight family for those 3 months we were there. So there was a lot of screwing around, and probably more than we should have. I mean, the director at one point was in his car.
Yeah.
It was a light rain. It was the night we had our love scene, and we had a couple of glasses of wine just to
loosen us up, and it was my
she was
first.
nervous. I wasn't
So I
nervous.
was
She was
nervous.
nervous, but not me. And so Lasse was in, it was kind of raining, and he was in his car. He had this big sheet over the top, and he was in there playing. He was like playing DJ. He had a microphone. He'd play it on his thing and play music for everybody. But it was the most random mix of music that you ever seen. We went from ABBA to Metallica
To Carly Rae Jepsen.
to Def Leppard to Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
I was like, you got a Lil Wayne on your iPad? He's like a 60-year-old Swedish man.
It's
Crazy.
So funny.
Very hip, I guess. I don't even have Lil Wayne.
So thank you very much for your time.
Thank
for
you.
the interview.
Appreciate it.